Number 10, GPS brain rot. You're driving to your friend's house, a place you've been to 17 times. A place you could probably get to blindfolded if a kidnapper made a very specific, very local demand. And yet there's a serene robotic voice telling you to turn left in 200 feet. You obey without question. You've willingly outsourced a basic survival skill to a satellite, and your brain is paying the price. Inside your skull is a wonderful little seahorse-shaped region called the hippocampus. It's responsible for, among many other things, spatial memory. It's your brain's built-in cartographer, creating and storing mental maps of your surroundings. Every time you navigate a new place on your own, you're giving your hippocampus a full-body workout. It's lifting weights, doing cardio, and getting stronger. But when you blindly follow a GPS, you're essentially plopping your hippocampus on the couch with a bag of chips and telling it to just chill out. Over time, this mental couch potatoing can have real consequences. Studies have shown that people who rely heavily on GPS have less activity in their hippocampus when navigating. The muscle atrophies from lack of use. You're not just losing your ability to get around without a phone, you're weakening a key part of your brain tied to memory in general. So the next time you use GPS to get to the grocery store that's been there since you were 5, just know you're trading a tiny bit of convenience for a tiny bit of your brain's map-making soul. Your internal atlas is slowly being replaced by a single, blurry, out-of-date tourist pamphlet. Number 9, the Boredom Killer. There it is, a spare 30 seconds. You're waiting for the microwave to finish, or you're in an elevator, or you're paused at a red light. An ancient human would have stared at a wall or a tree, or perhaps contemplated the vast, terrifying emptiness of existence. What do? You whip out your phone. You have to see that email, check that notification, or watch a 15-second video of a cat falling off a table. You've systematically eliminated every last crumb of boredom from your life. Congratulations, you've also suffocated your brain's best ideas. Your brain has something called the default mode network, or DMN. Think of it as your brain's screensaver. It activates when you're not focused on an external task, when you're daydreaming, mind-wandering, or just being, bored. This is not wasted time, this is where the magic happens. The DMN is responsible for consolidating memories, thinking about the future, and most importantly, making creative connections. It's the neurological equivalent of your best ideas happening in the shower. By filling every empty moment with digital noise, you never let your brain's screensaver turn on. You're robbing the DMN of its playtime. You're essentially telling your brain it's not allowed to think unless it's reacting to a push notification. The result is a mind that's great at consuming information, but terrible at generating it. You're so busy scrolling through other people's thoughts that you've forgotten how to have your own. Your inner genius is banging on the door trying to tell you the solution to that big work problem, but you can't hear it over a podcast about celebrity conspiracy theories. Number 8, your inner troll. Imagine hiring someone to follow you around all day, just to whisper horrible things in your ear. You're going to mess this up. Everyone thinks you're an idiot. That shirt makes you look like a sad potato. You'd fire that person immediately, right? And yet, you let your own brain do this to you for free 24/7. This habit of constant negative self-talk isn't just a bad mood, it's a form of mental landscaping that's actively rewiring your brain for misery. This all comes down to a concept called neuroplasticity. Your brain is not a fixed object, it's more like a landscape of pathways. The thoughts you have most often are like trails. A thought you have once is like walking through a grassy field. It leaves a faint path. But a thought you have 1,000 times? That trail gets worn down. It becomes a dirt road, then a paved street, then a 6-lane superhighway. When you constantly think, I am a failure, you aren't just having a thought. You're paving a high-speed express lane directly to the feeling of failure. It becomes your brain's default route. This makes it easier and faster to access those negative feelings in the future. You've trained your brain to be an expert in your own perceived inadequacies. It's like a muscle, and you've been doing thousands of reps of self-criticism. The good news is that this works both ways. You can consciously choose to carve new, more positive paths. It's awkward at first, like hacking through a jungle with a butter knife, but with enough repetition you can build a new highway. Until then, just be aware that you've employed a world-class hater who lives rent-free in your head. Number 7, human raisins. Your brain, that squishy 3-pound miracle of evolution that lets you ponder the universe and remember embarrassing moments from 2007, is about 75% water. 75%. It is, for all intents and purposes, a sophisticated blob of jelly, and we treat it like a piece of beef jerky. The simple, boring, and profoundly common habit of not drinking enough water is one of the fastest ways to turn your high-performance cognitive engine into a sputtering mess. When you're dehydrated, your brain tissue literally shrinks. This isn't an exaggeration. Your brain pulls away from your skull. This shrinkage impacts everything. Your cognitive functions take a nosedive. Attention, memory, and motor skills all get worse. Ever have one of those days where you feel foggy, irritable, and can't focus on a single task? You probably didn't need a triple shot espresso. You needed a glass of water. Think of your brain cells like plump, juicy grapes. They're full of water, firing off electrical signals and doing their important brain business. Now imagine those grapes after a week in the hot sun. They become shriveled, sad little raisins. That's your brain on dehydration. It's trying to perform complex calculations and regulate your emotions with the consistency of a dried fruit. You're not having a premature senior moment because you can't remember your coworker's name. You're just thirsty. Your brain is sending you a desperate, dusty memo, and you're ignoring it to go get another coffee, which, by the way, is a diuretic. You're not just a person. You're a houseplant with more complicated emotions. Water yourself. Number 6, digital friends. There's a beautiful irony in our hyper-connected world. We've never had more friends, and we've never felt more alone. The habit of substituting genuine human interaction with screen-based communication isn't just changing our social lives, it's starving a very old, very needy part of our brain. Your brain evolved over millennia to handle face-to-face interaction. It's a finely tuned instrument designed to read micro-expressions, interpret tone of voice, and sense body language. It craves the rich, complex data stream of another human being standing in the same room. And what do we give it? A heart emoji, a lol, a heavily filtered photo with a one-sentence caption. This is like trying to feed a gourmet chef a diet of nothing but rice cakes. Your social brain is getting the nutritional equivalent of cardboard. The parts of your brain responsible for empathy and social cues, like your mirror neuron system, don't fire the same way when you're looking at a screen. You see someone cry in person, and your brain instinctively simulates that feeling. You see a crying emoji, and your brain, well, it registers a yellow circle with blue lines on it. This deficit in high-quality social data can leave you feeling disconnected and anxious. You're scrolling through a highlight reel of everyone else's curated happiness while your own brain is desperate for the messy, awkward, and deeply satisfying reality of a real conversation. We've traded the intricate dance of human connection for the sterile efficiency of a text message. Your brain is trying to read the room, but the room is a glowing rectangle filled with performative arguments and advertisements for meal kits. Number 5, the chair monster. Our ancestors spent their days running from saber-toothed tigers. We spend our days running from one chair to another, from the breakfast table chair to the car chair to the office chair, and finally to the supreme throne of comfort, the couch chair. This sedentary lifestyle, this chronic state of sitting, is not just bad for your back, it's putting your brain in a chokehold. Your brain is an incredibly greedy organ. It's only about 2% of your body weight, but it devours 20% of your oxygen and calories. And how does it get that precious fuel? Through blood flow. When you move your body, when you walk, run, or even just stand up and stretch, you increase blood flow everywhere, including to your head. Fresh, oxygenated blood rushes to your brain, clearing out waste products and delivering the energy it needs to think clearly. When you sit for hours on end, that entire process slows to a crawl. Blood flow becomes sluggish. Your brain is essentially being drip-fed the fuel it needs to function. The result is that all too familiar feeling of brain fog, the mental molasses that makes it impossible to focus, be creative, or form a coherent thought. You're not tired. Your brain is just suffocating in slow motion. You've created a low-oxygen environment for your most important organ. Your body is a temple, and you've basically locked the high priest in a stuffy, windowless room with a single flickering fluorescent light. So stand up, your brain will thank you. Number 4, running on fumes. There's a popular idea that you can power through the morning on nothing but willpower and a splash of lukewarm coffee. You skip breakfast because you're too busy, or you're on a diet, or you just forgot. Meanwhile, your brain is in the background, screaming into a tiny pillow. The habit of skipping the first meal of the day is like asking a Formula One driver to win a race with an empty gas tank. It's not going to end well. Your brain's primary source of energy is glucose, which you get from the food you eat. After a night of fasting, which is literally what sleep is, your glucose stores are at their lowest. Breakfast is the act of refueling that tank. When you deny your brain that fuel, it starts to panic. It doesn't have fat reserves to burn like the rest of your body. It relies on a steady, moment-to-moment supply of glucose from your bloodstream. Without it, your cognitive functions begin to sputter and die. Your ability to concentrate plummets. Your short-term memory gets shot. You become irritable and your decision-making skills regress to that of a toddler who has just been denied a cookie. All those complex tasks your job requires, your brain is trying to accomplish them while running on emergency backup power, which is just enough energy to keep the lights on, but not enough to actually do anything useful. You're not a multitasking genius surviving on caffeine. You're an employee making major decisions with the mental capacity of a half-dead housefly. Number 3, revenge bedtime procrastination. It's 11 p.m. You have to be up in 7 hours. You know this. Every rational cell in your body knows this. But you just worked all day, made dinner, cleaned up, and dealt with life. This is your time, your only time, and so you defy sleep. You declare war on your own circadian rhythm in the name of a few precious hours of freedom. This is revenge bedtime procrastination, and it's the noble, self-destructive act of stealing time from your well-rested future self to give to your exhausted present self. While you're catching up on that series you're only half watching, your brain is begging you to let it do its nightly maintenance. Sleep isn't just a shutdown, it's an active, critical process. During deep sleep and REM cycles, your brain is like a diligent night shift crew. It's consolidating memories, transferring information from your short-term to your long-term storage. It's clearing out metabolic waste products, literally washing itself clean. It's processing emotions, taking the sharp edges off the anxieties of the day. When you consistently cut this process short, the work doesn't get done. Memories remain fuzzy, toxins build up, emotional regulation goes out the window. You wake up feeling not just tired, but mentally cluttered and emotionally raw. That free time you clawed back by staying up until 2 a.m. came at a steep price: tomorrow's focus, patience, and sanity. You're punishing your tomorrow brain for the sins of your today schedule. It's a heroic, tragic act of self-sabotage, fueled by the desperate need to feel like you own a single minute of your own life. Number 2, the Doomscroll. Your thumb moves with a life of its own. A flick, a pause, a flick. You're mining for information, but all you're finding is a relentless stream of misery. Political outrage, natural disasters, economic collapse, a heartbreaking story about a dog. You know it's making you feel awful, anxious, hopeless, but you can't stop. Welcome to the Doomscroll, the modern pastime where you willingly submerge your own brain in a digital sewer of bad news. This isn't just a lack of self-control. It's your brain's ancient wiring being hijacked. Humans have a negativity bias. We're hardwired to pay more attention to threats than to positive things. For our ancestors, hearing a rustle in the bushes and assuming it was a lion, even if it was just the wind, was a great survival strategy. Today, that same instinct has you assuming every headline is a lion about to eat your face. Your brain thinks it's keeping you safe by gathering information about every potential threat on the planet. To make matters worse, this process is addictive. Every new piece of information, good or bad, can trigger a tiny release of dopamine. It's the hormone of seeking, of anticipation. It keeps you scrolling, looking for the next hit. It's a slot machine where every outcome is just a different flavor of anxiety. You're flooding your nervous system with cortisol, the stress hormone, putting your body in a constant, low-grade state of fight or flight. You're not staying informed, you're marinating your brain in a cocktail of panic and despair, one flick of the thumb at a time. Your caveman brain is trying to survive, but all it's doing is giving your 21st century brain a panic attack about things happening 5,000 miles away. Number 1, the multitasking lie. You're on a Zoom call. While listening with one ear, you're also typing an email to your boss, responding to a text message, and stirring a pot of soup that's about to boil over. You feel like a master of efficiency, a productivity ninja juggling the demands of modern life. The truth is, you're not multitasking. You're just doing a bunch of things badly, all at the same time, and frying your brain in the process. The human brain cannot truly focus on more than one cognitive task at once. It's a biological impossibility. What you're actually doing is called task switching. Your brain is frantically jumping from the Zoom call to the email to the text, back to the email, over to the soup, and back to the Zoom call. These switches happen in milliseconds, so you feel like you're doing it all simultaneously, but you're not. You're a spotlight, not a floodlight, and you're just flicking that spotlight back and forth so fast it's making you dizzy. This rapid switching is incredibly draining. It burns through oxygenated glucose in the brain, leaving you feeling exhausted and unfocused far quicker than if you had just done one task at a time. It also pumps your body full of cortisol, the stress hormone, because your brain interprets this chaotic juggling act as a crisis. You make more mistakes, you retain less information, and you stress yourself out. You think you're a high-tech supercomputer running multiple programs at once, but in reality, you're a 1998 laptop trying to open 50 browser tabs. The fan is screaming, everything is lagging, and the blue screen of death is not a matter of if, but when. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.